welcome back to the podcast playground. Our newest podcast is The Best Podcast.
Join Jay Carter and me, Vida Best, on The Best Podcast, where the dynamic duo brings you their insider secrets to everything wonderful. Now Jay and me dive deep into the top 5 everything, from the latest cell phones to affordable wines that won't break the bank.
So tell a friend, you've found The Best Podcast,
where every recommendation is a gem waiting to be uncovered. Tune in weekly for your dose of excellence.
You know, you really wouldn't take a flawless, like a $10,000 color-shifting metallic paint job and just spray it over the rattling, rusted-out frame of some 20-year-old hatchback. You just wouldn't do it.
I mean, the paint would look incredible for, about 5 minutes? Right up until the doors literally rusted off the hinges.
Exactly. And yet, in the world of independent apparel, that is exactly what thousands of creators are doing, like every single day.
Yeah, they really are.
They're taking these museum-quality, just breathtaking graphic designs and slapping them onto the equivalent of a rusted-out chassis.
Yeah.
So if you are an independent creator, a brand builder, or, a streetwear designer, we're looking directly at you today.
We definitely are. Because the era of relying on that paper-thin, see-through promotional t-shirt to carry your brand, that's entirely over. Today's consumer has absolutely zero tolerance for garments that warp and just sort of unravel after 3 trips through the washing machine. If they are handing over their money, they expect the underlying physical product to be just as impressive as the artwork printed on it.
Totally. And to get to the bottom of this, we are digging into Hunter Harm's Operator's Guide to 2026 Blanks, the newest trend forecasts from Impressions magazine, the Pantone Color Trend Report for spring and summer, wholesale data from massive suppliers like Ray's Creations, and this really revealing apparel tech report from Aptian.
It's a lot of data, but it all points to one thing.
Yeah, the thesis that jumps out from all these sources is a really hard truth for creators to swallow. The blank is not the canvas. The blank is the product.
Exactly. The blank is the product.
So if we are going to name the top 5 companies dominating this space for you today, we first have to understand the baseline. Why does one brand effortlessly justify an $80 price tag for a t-shirt while another struggles to get like $25? What is the customer actually paying for?
Well, it starts with the sheer physical density of the fabric, right? The industry measures this in ounces, or grams per square meter, which you'll hear called GSM.
Right, GSM.
Yeah. So if you are trying to break into the premium market in 2026, your absolute floor is 6.5 ounces. That sits right around 220 GSM.
Okay, so 6.5 is the bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Anything lighter than that immediately signals commodity merchandise to a buyer. It feels cheap. But the true luxury tier, they've pushed way beyond that. They're climbing into the 7.5 to 10.4 ounce range.
Wait, 10.4? That's heavy? But weight can't be the whole story, right? Because I've definitely felt heavy shirts that basically feel like cardboard. There has to be something else dictating the actual texture.
Oh, for sure. And that brings us to the secret weapon that most brand owners just completely overlook, and that is yarn count.
Yarn count?
Yeah.
Like thread count in sheets?
Sort of, yeah. This isn't just about how much cotton is in the shirt. It's about the thickness and the actual engineering of the individual threads used to knit the fabric.
Okay.
So a 16 singles yarn is quite thick, it's coarse, it yields a very rustic texture. But if you step up to a 22 singles yarn, the thread is finer. So the resulting fabric surface becomes noticeably tighter and much smoother.
Got it.
But the absolute peak of premium construction is what we call a 26 doubles yarn.
Okay, I have to ask, how does a 26 doubles yarn actually work?
It's super cool. The mills take 2 extremely fine, delicate 26 singles yarns, and they physically twist them together into a single unified cord before the knitting even begins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you are essentially creating this microcable. It yields a fabric that is incredibly dense and durable because of that doubled structure, but it feels unbelievably soft against the skin because the constituent threads are just so fine.
I love the engineering behind that. Like, twisting fine threads into microcables sounds awesome. But I have to play devil's advocate here. Do everyday customers actually notice how a yarn is twisted when they, pull a shirt off a rack?
Subconsciously, they notice it instantly.
Really?
Absolutely. The industry calls it the hand feel. When a customer touches a garment, their brain makes a value judgment in literally a fraction of a second.
So it's an immediate impression.
Yeah, that hand feel is the very first tactile interaction they have with your brand. If the fabric feels scratchy or stiff, their perception of your artwork is immediately downgraded. They don't even realize they're doing it.
That makes total sense. And hand feel isn't just about the yarn, right?
Yeah.
Because the sources point out that how the shirt is finished, like chemically and physically, alters everything. Okay, let's unpack this. The data highlights 3 distinct finishing techniques.
All right.
First is garment dye, where they cut and sew the entire white t-shirt first, and then dye it as a finished piece, which gives it that rich, slightly uneven color and guarantees it won't shrink. But then there's enzyme wash. What are enzymes actually doing to the cotton?
It's a fascinating biological process, honestly. Enzymes are essentially proteins that act as catalysts.
Okay.
In an enzyme wash, these proteins literally eat away at the microscopic, loose cellulose fibers that are protruding from the surface of the cotton. They digest the fuzz.
Wait, they digest the fuzz? That is wild.
Yeah. So instead of using harsh pumice stones to literally beat the fabric into submission, the enzymes chemically mimic years of natural friction. You get a shirt with this vintage, beautifully broken-in softness, but you haven't degraded the structural integrity of the seams at all.
That is brilliant. And then the third technique mentioned is pigment dye, right? Where the color particles are larger and sit on the surface of the fabric rather than penetrating deep into the core of the fibers.
Exactly. It creates this faded, lived-in aesthetic that naturally wears down with every single wash. It's very similar to how raw denim fades to the shape of the wearer.
I love that look.
Me too. Which perfectly leads us into the biggest silhouette trend dominating the market right now. If we are talking about heavy fabrics with vintage wash-down finishes, we are talking about the heavyweight, oversized, boxy streetwear look.
Oh, yeah. That is everywhere right now.
Everywhere. And this is where our first 2 premier blank companies are battling for dominance.
Okay, so the first one the sources highlight is Los Angeles Apparel, specifically their 1801 GD model, which sits right at that 6.5-ounce premium floor we talked about.
Yes. What's fascinating here is the mechanism behind its texture. That's what makes it so popular. It uses an 181 open-end cotton.
Open-end meaning what exactly?
Well, unlike ring-spun cotton, where the fibers are tightly twisted to create a perfectly smooth surface, open-end cotton is manufactured by essentially shooting the fibers together using air pressure.
Oh, interesting.
It's much faster, but it leaves tiny microscopic fiber ends sticking out of the yarn.
So that air-spun method is what creates that slightly gritty, authentic 1990s texture.
Precisely. It feels rougher, but intentionally so. Add the garment dye finish, and you have this incredible stiff drape that streetwear brands just absolutely love.
But beyond the fabric mechanics, the operator's guide notes that Los Angeles Apparel provides creators with a very specific narrative, too. The 1801 GD is knitted, cut, sewn, and dyed entirely in Los Angeles.
Which is huge for marketing.
It is. The source material highlights that the workers manufacturing these garments earn up to $25 an hour, alongside healthcare and a 401k, which is a massive tool for a creator, because when you price a printed t-shirt at $80, you have to justify it.
You really do.
Having an entirely domestic supply chain with documented labor standards gives the creator a very transparent narrative to share with their audience.
It adds real value. But if a creator needs to push the physical boundaries of that heavyweight trend even further, they turn to our second company, Shakaware.
Ah, Shakaware.
Yeah, their max heavyweight garment dye tee pushes the needle all the way up to 7.5 ounces.
I have a massive question about this, though. We constantly hear that younger demographics, specifically millennials and Gen Z, are hyper-focused on reducing textile waste, right? They want to move away from fast fashion.
Right.
So is producing and consuming incredibly thick, heavy, 7.5-ounce cotton shirts really what people want right now? It just feels like moving in the opposite direction of environmental consciousness.
It's a very common concern. But you have to reframe how we define sustainability.
How so?
The fast fashion model of buying a paper-thin shirt, wearing it 3 times, and throwing it into a landfill, that is exactly what this demographic is rejecting. A 7.5-ounce shirt is a physical rejection of planned obsolescence.
Because it just doesn't break down as fast.
Exactly. It's built to last a decade. The durability is the sustainability. Furthermore, from a purely functional standpoint, a shirt this dense completely changes how you can print.
Oh, right. Because if you apply a massive heavy layer of puff print ink or like an intricate multi-layer screen print to a lightweight shirt, the fabric will literally buckle and warp under the weight of the ink as it cures.
It totally warps. But the Shakaware Max Heavyweight acts as architectural scaffolding for your art. It refuses to buckle. It holds the ink beautifully while maintaining its boxy, Druck shoulder shape.
Heavyweight cotton is brilliant for that 90s aesthetic. But what if my art relies on, like, tiny photorealistic details? A rough, open-end cotton shirt with a gritty texture is going to distort those fine lines entirely.
And that is exactly where creators must pivot away from the streetwear heavyweights and look at our third company, As Color.
As Color.
They dominate what we call the precision canvas tier. The guide specifically points to their classic oversized tee, Fuzzle 69.
What makes it so precise? Like, why is it better for detailed art?
It comes right back to the yarn. The 5069 is knit from a 22 singles combed cotton.
Combed cotton.
Yeah. The combing process physically brushes the raw cotton before it's spun. It removes all the short, stray fibers and impurities. Only the longest, strongest cotton fibers remain.
Making it smoother.
Super smooth. When those are spun and knitted, you get an incredibly tight, flat, immaculate surface.
It's like a calibrated digital monitor for a graphic designer. It just removes all the physical variables. Because the fabric is perfectly pre-shrunk and the surface is totally devoid of stray fuzz, a high-resolution screen print or direct-to-garment print is going to translate exactly as you designed it on your computer.
Right. The ink has a perfectly smooth runway.
But maybe precision printing isn't your primary concern. What if you were positioning your brand as a true high-fashion luxury house?
Then you need our fourth company, WATC Studio.
Yes, WATC Studio. The specs on their oversized boxy tee are just staggering. It weighs in at 10.4 ounces, or 240 GSM.
It's massive.
Wait, 10.4 ounces? At that point, are you just selling a short-sleeve sweatshirt and calling it a t-shirt? How does that even drape on a human body without looking like, I don't know, stiff cardboard?
It's a totally valid question, and if it were standard open-end cotton, it would be completely unwearable. But WTC Studio manufactures this blank in Portugal using 100% organic cotton.
Okay, so the origin matters here.
Tremendously. The quality of the Portuguese milling process means the fabric is remarkably dense and heavy, yet it retains this pliability. It allows it to drape elegantly rather than just hanging like a rigid box.
And the sources note it comes completely untagged, too.
Which is a critical detail for luxury positioning. Creators don't have to carefully rip out a tearaway tag and risk damaging the seam. It is a pristine foundation, completely ready for a custom woven neck label.
So this is not a blank for a brand just testing the waters.
Definitely not. This is a highly specific foundation engineered for creators who need a garment that instantly, undeniably validates a $150 retail price the second the customer touches it.
Okay, but a massive 10.4-ounce shirt is terrible if you're building like a fitness brand, or if you're outfitting a local coffee shop's staff. You need breathability, movement, and comfort.
Which is why our fifth entry focuses on the everyday premium category. This space is defined by an ongoing rivalry between two absolute giants, Bella Plus Canvas and Next Level.
The battle of the blends.
Exactly. They completely dominate the fitted premium lifestyle market.
The data shows Bella Plus Canvas, specifically with models like their 3001C or their 3433C tri-blend, just absolutely dominating the conversation around softness.
Yeah, their mechanism for that softness is a proprietary process they call heirloom cotton.
Heirloom cotton.
Yeah, they're combing out roughly 2.5 times more impurities from the raw cotton than standard ring spun processing requires.
Oh, 2.5 times.
It yields a remarkably soft, lightweight fabric that almost feels invisible on the skin.
And on the other side of the ring, you have Next Level. Known for their 3600 or the 6200 poly cotton blend, they consistently win on what creators call an engineered fit. What does an engineered fit actually mean?
It means they designed a silhouette that subtly manipulates proportion. So Next Level blanks feature a slightly tapered shorter sleeve that subtly hugs the bicep. But they leave a roomier, more forgiving cut through the torso. It creates this incredibly flattering athletic profile for a wide variety of body types.
Which is exactly why gym wear and lifestyle brands rely on them so heavily. That makes perfect sense. So sourcing the perfect blank, whether it's the right weight, the perfect combed yarn, or an engineered fit is crucial. But none of that matters if you print your art on colors that consumers subconsciously associate with last year.
Color dictates the entire immediate emotional response to the garment.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Looking at the Pantone Spring and Summer 2026 report, alongside forecasting from Impressions magazine, there's a distinct psychological shift happening right now.
Consumers are moving aggressively toward earth tones, specifically autumn golds and red-based browns, as well as highly saturated blues.
Yeah, the Pantone report highlighted two specific shades that creators need to prioritize: The first is burnt sienna, which is this deep, rich, russet red.
And the second is burnished lilac, which is a very smoky, muted lavender tone.
Why these specific shades, though? Why are bright neons or stark pastels falling behind?
The trend reports attribute it to a desire for grounding. After several chaotic years in the broader cultural landscape, these specific tones, the russet reds and smoky lavenders, they evoke a sense of calm, a deep connection to the outdoors.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they have this natural, perfumed, vintage quality that pairs flawlessly with the enzyme washes and pigment dyes we discussed earlier. Consumers are just craving apparel that feels restorative.
Okay, so let's say a creator takes all this intelligence. They pick the perfect AS color blank in burnt sienna, they drop a collection, and it goes completely viral. Suddenly, they don't need 50 shirts. They need 5,000 shirts by next month.
And that is the moment a creator hits the ceiling of what standard wholesale blanks can offer. This raises an important question, right? When do you graduate? The Operator's Guide refers to this transition as being triggered by volume and vision.
Volume makes sense. I mean, the economics just change when you order thousands. But what about vision?
Vision is when your creative demands simply outgrow an off-the-shelf product. When your brand requires a custom drop shoulder measurement or unique collar ribbing or a fabric weight that literally does not exist in a catalog anywhere.
That's when you have to transition to custom manufacturing, what people usually call cut and sew.
Exactly. And the wholesale landscape for 2026 is rapidly adapting to this exact transition. The data highlights partners like Raise Creations, who are currently ranked as the top U.S. wholesaler for 2026.
Because they operate as a bridge, right? Offering premium bulk blanks while also providing scalable, private label, custom manufacturing.
Right. And if a brand requires international scaling, the sources point to suppliers like Hem Apparel in Vietnam.
Hem Apparel.
Yeah, they offer heavyweight 290 GSM oversized garments with zero minimum order quantities.
Wait, zero minimum? That is revolutionary because it allows an independent creator to test the waters of overseas cut-and-sew production without taking on massive financial risk.
It's a huge safety net.
But the financial risk of scaling isn't just about the manufacturing cost. I mean, moving from storing a box of shirts in a garage to managing an international supply chain of 5,000 custom pieces, that introduces massive inventory risk.
Oh, absolutely.
If you miscalculate and order 3,000 shirts in the wrong size or the wrong color, your brand can go bankrupt overnight.
Which is exactly why the Aptian 2025 Fashion and Apparel Technology Report is so critical to this conversation. The days of a creator simply guessing what their audience wants based on like a few Instagram comments are over.
Totally over.
The report found that an overwhelming 90% of apparel businesses are now prioritizing advanced demand forecasting.
Yeah, the data shows that 33% of apparel organizations are already actively using artificial intelligence for this, and another 38% are currently in the implementation phase. So how does an AI actually help a creator avoid bankruptcy?
It acts as an incredibly sophisticated predictive engine. These AI models ingest vast amounts of historical sales data, real-time social media sentiment, web traffic patterns, and even broader economic and weather indicators.
That's a lot of variables.
Right. So instead of a creator guessing how many large shirts to order versus mediums, the AI analyzes all those variables and predicts the exact optimal inventory spread. It takes the emotional guesswork totally out of supply chain logistics.
So what does this all mean? It transforms the merchandise from a pure art project into a fully tech-enabled logistical operation.
Yes. The artwork and the creative vision are the spark. But the operational foundation, the data analysis, the inventory forecasting, the precise selection of the physical garment, that is the engine that allows the brand to actually scale and survive.
It is the ultimate marriage of art and science, because the blank you choose establishes the absolute ceiling of your brand's perceived value. And the technology and forecasting you implement establish the ceiling of your brand's actual operational growth.
Very well said.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. For you listening, the takeaway is clear. The blank truly is your product. Whether you anchor your vision with the cultural open and grit of LA apparel, the architectural scaffolding of Shakaware, the exact combed precision of AS color, the uncompromising heavy luxury of WATC Studio, Or the engineered lifestyle fit of Bella plus Canvas and Next Level, you are making a deliberate statement to your customer about exactly who you are.
You really are. And as you plan out your next collection, I want to leave you with one final thread to pull from our research today.
Lay it on us.
We saw in that Aptean report that 34% of major apparel companies are highly concerned about the ethical implications of using AI in design and supply chains.
Yeah, they are really worried about algorithms just outright replacing human creativity.
Precisely. But simultaneously, Impressions magazine highlighted that sustainable material innovation is moving at warp speed right now. They documented fabrics actively being developed from pineapple leaves, banana leaves, and marigold flowers.
Marigold flowers, it's incredible.
And massive players like Hanes have already introduced their EcoSmart polyester, which is engineered at a molecular level to degrade significantly faster when exposed to landfill conditions.
Wow. So when you collide those two massive industry shifts, hyper-advanced AI capable of fully designing and forecasting a collection, and radical lab-grown biological fabrics.
It forces us to ask a wild question about the near future. In 5 years, will the ultimate $150 premium streetwear blank be mathematically designed by an algorithm flawlessly stitched by robotics and woven entirely from lab-grown fruit fibers?
Now that is a fascinating reality to ponder as you sketch out your designs tonight. Because no matter what materials the future brings, one rule will remain absolute. Whatever chassis you are building on, you better make sure it is flawless before you start painting.